my name is Ann Phelim.
And I'm Phelim and Magda.
Welcome to the Ann and Phelim Scoop. This is week
63. It's week 63, not week 63 of the Ann and Phelim Scoop. This is week 63 of the 1 year, 2 months, and 3 weeks of the 2-week Flatten the Curve lockdown. Yes, it is 1 year, 2 months,
2 months, and 3 weeks
since the government told us we'd close everything for just 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
So that'll teach you. That'll learn you not to be listening. That'll learn you not to be listening to the government.
Yes.
And this is, by the way, a very special Ann and Phelim Scoop because we're going to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, we thought we'd
well, a lot of people asked for this, by the way. A lot of people asked us for this. They said, "You've done all these funny things. Why can't we find them in the one spot? It's a little bit difficult." So we thought we'd do a little bit of our, how would you describe this, Philip?
Greatest hits.
Our greatest hits. And
or
by
actually,
the way,
most of them are not so great people trying to hit us.
Okay, let's start. The very first one we're going to look at actually is Phelim and Magda with one Albert Gore.
Esquire.
Esquire.
Yeah, the background of this is, as you'll see, I had some serious questions to ask Mr. Albert Gore Esquire about his famous
Inconvenient Truth.
So I went to the conference of the Society of Environmental Journalists, and I would consider myself an environmental journalist.
Of course, everyone thinks of you that way.
So I got the opportunity to do a Q&A because Mr. Gore never does take questions from skeptical people. So I decided to ask him some questions, and one in particular about his documentary. And it's very interesting when you look at the reaction of the Society of Environmental Journalists. Their instinct is to protect Mr. Gore. Their instinct is to stop him being faced with hard questions, and they cut off my microphone. So they're a society of journalists, environmentalists pretending to be journalists.
Yes.
But let's
watch it now.
Roll the tape there, Colette, and let's see that in action.
The British High Court in London found an inconvenient truth had 9 significant errors in it. Given that this film has been shown in schools to children, do you accept those findings, and have you done anything to correct those errors?
Well, I'm not going to go through all of those. The ruling was in favor of the movie, by the way, and the ruling was in favor of showing the movie in schools. And that's really the bottom line on that. There's been such a long discussion of each one of those specific things. One of them, for example, was that polar bears, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time ago, that polar bears really aren't endangered. Well, polar bears can get that word. So,
well, the number of polar bears have increased, actually, and are increasing.
You don't think they're endangered, do you?
The number of polar bears have increased.
Do you think they're endangered?
The number of polar bears have increased. If the number of polar bears increase, surely they're not endangered. And a judge did have an MP hearing. No, I mean, Vice President Gore hasn't actually moved. Vice President, we're not doing a debate. No, this is a question. He hasn't answered the question. Vice President left for the. Yes, but I would appreciate his answer to the court.
A British High Court judge has his hand. The mic is off.
I like it.
As I say, we, it's their instinct to shut it down. Boy, he didn't like that.
And this next piece, the second piece we're going to show, it's incredibly similar to the first one, actually. So you have a public figure, someone who's out there.
Mr. Josh Fox.
Mr. Josh Fox, affecting the lives of millions of people around the world by demonizing fracking. And Phelim decided to go and ask him a couple of questions, and the reaction is really weird, right? Why would you not just answer the questions? Instead of that, watch what happens.
Yeah, it's like, who are you to ask me questions? Don't care. Don't worry who I am to ask you.
Just answer the questions.
Answer the questions. You're talking about a very important matter. You
sound like you're an expert. You seem like you're an expert. You're putting yourself out as an expert. Then answering a question isn't difficult, right?
Yeah, but also you're talking about a matter of extremely important public policy and stuff that will affect people at a very granular level. Farms were closing and farms were being saved because of fracking. Another thing I want to say is the background to this is that in the documentary Gasland, the famous scene of the guy lighting his tap water on fire, it went around the world 5 times. It was everywhere. It was, and it's a very dramatic scene, a very, very dramatic scene. But of course, it's not true. It's not caused by fracking. There was gas in that water long before fracking ever started. So, and we had evidence of that. And by the way, Josh Fox knew about that evidence. So let's hear his response when I asked him those tough questions.
Isn't it true that there's reports decades before fracking started that there was methane in the water there.
Can you identify yourself?
My name's Phelim and Magda.
Okay, where do you come from?
I'm a journalist.
Journalist from where?
Ireland.
From Ireland?
Yes. Isn't it true?
You're concerned about the fracking going on in Ireland?
No, I'm concerned about the accuracy of the documentary.
Okay, but I'm asking you what perspective. You're a journalist for what paper?
Freelance journalist.
Freelance. You write for a blog?
No.
Okay.
There's a report from 1976.
Well, I don't care about the report from 1976. There were reports from 1936 that people say they can light their water on fire in New York State.
No, I'm curious about why you didn't include relevant reports from 1976 or 1936 in the documentary. Most people watching your film would think that lighting your water started with fracking. You've said yourself, people lit their water long before fracking started. Isn't that correct?
Well, yes, but it's not relevant.
So we just watched, so that was Josh Fox.
So not relevant. Like, I mean, that is the biggest joke of all. Not relevant. I mean, yes, it's 100. Sorry, if you're saying this fracking causes your water to go on fire, but I know of examples where water goes on fire, but it's not caused by fracking. That is relevant. If you need to tell people of those relevant details, that's journalism 101. And another thing. I mean, what you need to know then is when we put that tape out, Josh Fox then contacted YouTube to say he's stealing my footage because we had the 26 seconds of him lighting his tap water, and YouTube took it down. And then we put it up on Vimeo, and he put in the same bogus copyright claim and got that taken down as well. We then put it up on our own server. But I mean, that was really what inspired us to make the Frack Nation documentary, was his lying at the beginning and then his censoriousness after that.
And you think, what year was that film? Like, what year was that?
That was about 2012, was it?
You know, when you think about it, that was, you know, there was the beginning of YouTube, of Twitter, of all these places censoring facts, censoring questioning, censoring, you know, like that was the beginning of it. We should have we had a warning shot back then, you know, we should have responded better to that. But that wasn't the only drama you had, Phelim, with the whole fracking documentary. And I love this. I mean, I just love this next clip. It is magnificent. Lead us into this clip.
Well,
who are we looking at here?
We interviewed Craig and Julie Saltner, who are two of the
Mr. and Mrs. Ordinary.
Yes, who are the big anti-fracking activists, saying their water was poisoned.
This is in Pennsylvania, right?
In Pennsylvania, saying their water was poisoned by fracking. They've been interviewed by Yoko Ono and 16 Minutes and Josh Fox.
Japanese TV and, you know, anyone, everyone.
The whole 9 yards. And so we interviewed them and they told us their stuff, and we asked to see their grey, muddy water, and asked them to open their tap. Nothing, clean water came out, you could drink it, you know. So then afterwards we went public with the crowdfunding campaign, and they got rather upset that we were going to tell the truth. I remember that we used to get these phone calls from them. So then after we then realized, then the under pressure, the Pennsylvania EPA said the water is fine. So under pressure, the federal EPA, I think, came out then, or was the EPA came out and examined their water in detail, scientific detail, and gave the results. But the Saltners wouldn't release the results, or they were very quiet about it, nothing. So we decided to go and ask the Saltners for their results. And I remember we drove past the house and we were prepping all the camera equipment and that. And who should drive up? Only Julie Saltner, who saw us and was very angry.
Well, let's see. Let's just watch this. So Julie Saltner drives up when the guys are getting their cameras
together.
We've
already met Julie a few months before we're coming back.
So she recognizes you.
Yes.
Let's watch what happens.
Well, how's it going?
Good, but I'd like to tell you that if you put Craig in the movie, you will be sued.
Well, I just wanted to ask you a few questions. I mean, the people are very upset that you were saying the water is dirty. Do you agree the water is dirty?
Yes, I do agree with the water is dirty. Absolutely.
But the EPA says the water is clean now.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
They said there's no contamination in the water.
No, they didn't.
Is there contamination in your water? What did the EPA say about your water?
Yes, there's contamination. I'm an American. I don't know what part of that you don't understand. You're not. You're a turncoat. You're turned against your own country. I don't need your crap.
I just want to find the truth.
Make lots of money because you're going to need it. I will tell you that right now. What do you think? We're small time? I'll have the NRDC and everybody else on you as fast as you put Craig in your movie. I guarantee I come down on you like a ton of bricks.
Why would we be sued?
Because you're anti-American and you're lying
What are we lying about?
about what's going on here. You put me in there, so help me God, it'll be the last thing you do.
But why do you not want to be filmed? You've given hundreds of interviews to people.
No.
I
Yeah,
mean,
the truth. You're telling the truth, so you keep your anti-truth over there, and I'll keep mine.
but I want to know what the EPA have said about your well. Would you give me the results of your well?
No, I will not give you.
Why
the
not?
results of my well.
It's just, I'm just asking you the truth. I mean, come on, you're involved in a very public lawsuit. You've given interviews.
right.
You've said your well is
Right.
contaminated.
That's right. And
You've
it
said
is.
your well is contaminated. The
You wanna drink
EPA
my
said,
water?
I'll drink your water now. Would you bring me down? You've got this brown water. Can we go and get some of your brown water? But there isn't, is that brown water just a prop? Is your water actually brown at the moment? Let's go into the well now.
That came from my well.
Let's go to the well now and
That
get...
came from my. You're not allowed on my property.
Well, no,
As
with
far
your
as I can
permission, with your
understand.
permission,
I think I'm going to call 911.
please do.
I am armed. I will tell you that.
You're armed. Well, I'm not getting involved now.
Well, that's good, but I will.
What are you reaching for then? Okay.
I do have a permit to carry a gun. I will,
Right.
I will prove that.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not harassing you in a way. You stopped.
you
You stopped to
are
talk to.
harassing me.
I was standing here. You stopped to talk to me. That's a.
That's a permit to carry a gun.
Are you declining an interview, Julie? Are you declining to show me the results? I just want to get that officially. Are you declining to show me the results?
I am armed. I will tell you.
Yeah, but I mean, that's amazing. By the way, somebody told me that's illegal. That's kind of called brandishing a firearm.
Oh, really?
Even brandishing your permit is kind of threatening. Anyway.
Well, it's not the only time that you've had people
No.
doing a lot of illegal things. Actually,
No, but yeah, but so the point is that their water was clean, and the reaction of most people,
yes,
when their water is clean, should be
yay! I'm delighted.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, and
You know.
instead their reaction was, "This is a disaster."
Yes.
They were angry at the scientists who said their water was clean.
Well, I think it brings up that joke, right, Philip? Which the joke of, why did the bank robber?
Why did Willie rob banks?
Why did Willie rob the bank? Well, that's where the money is. And why would it be great if your water was dirty? Well,
that's where the money
That's where the money is, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but this is not the only kind of brush with sort of violence. And I mean, by the way, lots of scary things have happened to us. But this next one, I mean, it's super scary. And Magda and Phelim were up in North Dakota. And we'll tell the background
Well,
of the story,
this is the pipeline. What's the pipeline, Magda? Standing Rock. Dakota Access Pipeline. So yeah, all these wonderful news reports coming out about these brave Native Americans, plucky little environmentalists at Standing Rock, protecting the pristine environment from this pipeline. So they set up this massive camp, and by the way, the actual tribe were happy enough with the pipeline because there was millions of pipelines going under the ground. And we went up to ask some difficult questions, which the media had not been doing.
Yeah, well, this is basically what we do. This is what we do here at the Unreported Story Society. We ask the questions that reporters aren't doing. We're doing the journalism that most journalists seem to be completely unwilling to do. And this is another really good example of it. This Standing Rock story was being reported everywhere on the planet Earth. Everyone was talking about it. But no one was asking the questions, the hard questions, about exactly what was going on.
And just what was, how can you be anti-fossil fuels when you use fossil fuels to protest being anti-fossil fuels?
Yes.
But anyway, so then we're looking to get away with our lives, but let's roll out what happened here.
Well, can we see your footage then?
I'm sorry.
It's open now. Yeah, we're gonna have security. Are you with the I'm with the press.
Hey, let go of that, sir. Let go of that. Let go.
I understand.
Let go.
He's in the wrong place to ask that kind of stuff.
Let go of the microphone. Let go of the microphone. You gotta let go of the microphone.
Let's go to the
That's
press
my
box.
property. Let go.
Well, I guarantee you.
I spoke to Mike yesterday. I was in here interviewing him yesterday.
I have my own camera operator. Hey, come here a minute. Can you make sure his is deleted? He's filming this right here and he's taking it with him.
We're in our car. We've been surrounded by protesters. They're trying to break into the car. We're in real danger. Can you please come? Yeah, break into our car. They're attacking us for asking questions, and we're really scared. We're at the 100 yards down from the main entrance of the Sacred Stone camp in a. Mr. McAleer. I'm an Irish journalist, and
Please come.
McAleer, M-C-A-L-E-E-R.
Is she sending
Please,
someone?
ma'am, you've got to send someone. Yes, hello?
Let us leave. Please let us leave. Please just let us leave.
Yeah, yeah,
Please
we can see the main
leave.
road. We're about 100 yards down on the main road off the main.
Please let us leave. Let us leave.
Yeah, they've moved the vehicles now. There's now people surrounding us, and but we don't want we need to be escorted out here big time because this is not good. They're now shaking the car. They're now shaking the car. We're now going to drive.
Is she sending someone?
Yeah, I know the phone is cutting out.
Okay.
Oh, they've closed the gate now. They've closed the gate. Yeah. So they now want us to go somewhere, and we're driving somewhere, but we want to leave.
And they block the gate. Send someone! Send someone, please! Send someone! Police! Police!
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I see a police car now. He's driving past.
Help us!
We're trying to attract the attention of the police officer who's just driven past.
Phelim, what's going on?
Basically, they want more officers. Go, Magda, go.
Sir,
get out of the way, get out of the way. Someone is now blocking. A gentleman is now blocking the car. He's now blocking the car. They're now blocking the vehicle. Yes, yeah, we're moving towards the cops now.
I have to say now, it was pretty scary.
Yes,
You know, we've been in some rough spots in the past. That was one of the scariest.
So Magda's driving the car, right?
Magda's driving the car, and I'm sitting there, and we've got a cameraman in the back. I remember turning to the cameraman once. Man, he was a local hire who got in a bit deep. I remember turning to him and said, "Do you have a gun on you?" Really hoping that he had a gun on him, and he goes, "No, I don't have a gun on me." It's like, whoa, God. You know, I mean, the one thing, you know, I've had a few tussles with environmentalists before. You know, the white kind of upper class girls, you know, and they're angry and vindictive and nasty, but this was criminal.
Yeah.
There was a definite element of violence here.
Well, they weren't letting you out. You were trapped. You were basically kidnapped in North Dakota and surrounded, and it was very lucky that you guys got out. Very scary. And I remember being on the phone with you, and I wasn't even there, and I'm like terrified from a distance, but very grateful not to be there.
You were monitoring events.
I was monitoring. You always need somebody. You always want someone in headquarters so that they can get in touch with the federal authorities if it comes to that.
Yeah.
So, by the way, I'm not always not in the front line, and this next clip is kind of a funny one. So this is me at Temple University, where I was on a panel talking about fossil fuels, and one of the students got rather irate. The funny thing about this piece is that someone filmed it. I don't even know who filmed it, but somebody filmed it. And last time I looked, over 1 million people have watched this, so it kind of went viral. So check this out. And one thing I would say before this is, I think my hair has improved a lot since then. But let's have a look.
That's important.
You don't know anything. You are the least credible human being I've ever encountered.
Be my Africa.
I know that this is absurd.
I'm allowed an opinion.
I just can't help it.
I'm allowed an opinion.
But you're a goddamn idiot.
A goddamn idiot.
You are.
Can I just do one point? Because I think it's worthwhile. Even though I've just been personally insulted, which I think is an extraordinary thing for intelligent people to do if she was talking about academic background. That's not what an open-minded person does. But let's just look at what she said, because I think it's really worthwhile. So she said that 98% of scientists agree that global warming is a major problem, basically. It's what she said, 98% of scientists. Everyone in this room is going to college, so you're going to like the logic of this. If you say 98% of something, there must be 100%. So somewhere there must be a list. There must be a list of all the scientists that exist. My first challenge to this lady is to give me the list of every scientist that exists in the world. Because if they do, that's how you can use the word 98%. If there isn't a definitive list, there is no such thing as 98%. Number one, logic. Number two, science does not proceed by consensus. Science is not democratic. At one time in history, it was the consensus that the Earth was flat. Everyone believed in that. Everyone agreed on that. One man said that that was not true. One person is true. The idea, anyone who says to you, the majority agree with it, so it's true, is not a scientist. I don't know what they are, but they're not a scientist. Hit me with facts, girl. But I mean, when you have to go down to the personal attacks, you're obviously really losing it. You're going to give me the list then of the 100%. So you have a list of every scientist that ever lived.
Not a list. The book isn't really that big.
But I do have some notes about the IPCC, which is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change.
Intergovernmental, not interscientific. It's a governmental panel, it's not scientific.
Yes, yes it is, and it was evaluated research from over 130 countries.
Great.
Some of them were actually part of the European Union. And, you know, the European Union uses...
What about the European Union? Like,
I'm just saying they use a lot of really great, I don't know...
Really great what?
Sustainable energy practices.
Oh my God, okay, stop.
Windmills.
Stop, we have to stop you on that. In Spain, do you know what the unemployment rate in Spain is? Where they have this wonderful, which was the poster child for renewable energy, Spain. They have over 20% unemployment. You're about the only person in the world who thinks that the European experiment is a success. They have no money, they're being bailed out by everyone, the whole thing is falling to pieces, and look at her! My God, you need to read a newspaper. You have got to be informing yourself. The European Union are about to crumble. The euro is about to crumble. Are you aware of that?
And the US dollar's doing so good right now?
It's doing a lot better. It's doing an awful lot better. Europe is falling to pieces. You do know that now, don't you? You know that they're rioting in Greece. In Greece, people retire at 50, and they can't continue to pay them. Greece has no money. You do know that. The American experiment. Let me make a point on that. God bless America. This is the only country. Everyone's trying to come here. I don't think Cubans are stupid, by the way. Cubans swim with sharks to get to this country.
And they're drilling for oil.
Swim with sharks. So that's a good example of, like, you know, students off the charts wokery among students, and kind of, you know,
that
really,
was quite a while back as well.
And that's quite a while back, and it's not the only one. So I also went and spoke at CPAC.
This is back in the good old days of CPAC, when CPAC was in that hotel. You were stuffed in a hotel, and even the benches and the exhibits, they were the car park. I mean, it was. But this one got so heated. And such a crowd, you can see such a crowd gathered around, that in the end, the fire marshals came along and told everyone to move. You can hear people telling people to move. The reason this broke up was not because Anne had run out of things to say. It was you were creating such a crowd of people around you that the fire marshals...
Because I got confronted by a young man. Let's have a look at this.
It's really about looking towards long-term goals and long-term ideas of sustainability.
If it's a good idea,
gains through continuing the promotion of oil and gas industry is not where we need to be. And that's clearly what I'm hearing.
Where are you from?
Where are you from?
I'm from Ireland.
I'm from Ohio.
You're from How did you get here?
How did I get here?
To Washington.
I drove here.
Really? And what did you?
There was no
electric?
public
Is it an electric
transportation
car?
for me to take.
Is the car
other than a
electric?
bus.
Is the car electric?
I wish it was.
Why isn't it? Why isn't it? You have a choice.
We're not focusing our energy.
Hang on, no,
we're not
you have a
focusing
choice.
our energy.
You have a choice. Now you've confronted me, so I'd like to ask you a few questions. You're against oil and gas, and yet you drove here in a car. You didn't need to come here.
Well, I didn't have the option of high-speed rail, unfortunately.
Why didn't you come in an electric car? I asked you why didn't you come in an electric car. So that was good. That got broken up. Yes. So, enough just to bring us more forward into the
I wonder what that guy's doing now. Do you ever wonder?
Oh yeah, that's a funny one. We didn't know his name, so sure, who knows? But sure, anyway, that's a funny.
He's probably,
you probably do. By the way, with nowadays, with all the way the technology is, you probably do face recognition or whatever, you know, face plus or whatever.
He's
it's
probably
called.
working in the White House.
So bringing this a little bit forward now and thinking about our more recent tussles, we have a new neighbour, as many of you know. Our new neighbour here in Venice is called Hunter Biden. And, you know, the problem with this story, and the reason that we're making the Hunter Biden movie, mysonhunter.com, and please go right now and give what you can. The reason we're doing it is because incurious journalists, and worse than that, the nicest possible way, right? The nicest possible way you could say journalists are incurious. At best, at worst, incompetence, liars. But mostly really lying liars who won't ask questions, who won't, you just won't do the heavy lifting when it comes to asking questions of this guy who got $83,000 from one of his gigs, only one of his gigs, during a time...
$83,000 a month.
A month. $83,000 a month for 5 years from an energy company, during a time when he was basically, according to himself, his main superpower was being able to find crack cocaine dealers and being on all fours sniffing around on carpets in hotels in Los Angeles trying to find crack cocaine. And we're meant to believe that that guy was somebody that you would pay $83,000 for. As I said, for that one gig, $83,000 a month to the Ukrainian company Burisma. But so Phelim has taken on the job of going out there and finding out what is going on. And here is...
And asking those questions.
And asking those difficult questions. And by the way, you know, fair play to Phelim for being really resourceful, like, because obviously we can't get an interview with Hunter Biden, but you know what? We'll try. Check this out.
Mr. Biden, I see you pulled the curtains now. You can come out, please.
He's at the window. He's at the window.
You were at the window. Let's come out. Let's talk.
So for those of you listening, I get on a kayak, actually, because he lives on the canals. So you'll see that I go to the door first.
Hello? Hello? I'm looking for Hunter.
But then when I don't get answers, I go on the kayak and let's say use a megaphone to project my voice to ask these questions. Okay, let's watch that.
Hunter Biden, did you lie on your gun background check? Did you use the Secret Service to go and retrieve your gun from a dumpster? Should that not be investigated? Should you not answer questions on this? Do you think it's appropriate that the President of the United States got 10% of your earnings from foreign entities? We just want to know, is Joe Biden the big guy? Is Joe Biden the big guy? Is this your signature? Did you leave the laptop in to get fixed? Yes or no?
I'm very proud of this because actually these are questions that need to be asked, and Hunter needs to know that every time he gives a softball interview to Jimmy Kimmel or CBS, I'm going to come at him with hard questions. Yeah. And I'm going to get him. I'm going to make him answer those questions or be shown to be the lying coward that he is, you know.
But also our film is going to reach millions of people. It's going to be on the internet. It's going to be free. Lots of people will get to see this story. Amazing numbers of people are going to see this story with big actors, really big names, and a great director. And people are going to see this and find out the truth of what happened here. Finally find out the truth about the Biden family corruption. But thank you all for tuning in today. We will be back to our normal programming next week. But for now,
well, actually, can we do a little bonus? I'm thinking we should show me confronting Josh Fox at the Hammond Museum. What do you think?
Okay.
Let's do that. Okay. So Josh Fox was speaking at the Hammond Museum. So we went.
This is Josh Fox, by the way, who made the Oscar-nominated documentary Gasland.
And was refusing to answer questions. Hung up on me on the phone when I wanted to ask him some questions. So I thought I'd go and ask him some questions now with my new information I'd learned making the film.
And with his trusty, right-hand woman, Magda, not me.
Of course, Anne was at home
monitoring the phones.
In headquarters.
In headquarters, just in case we need the federal authorities.
Josh, Phelim and Magda, you hung up with me the other day. There's a lot of questions I've come across. I'm just looking for an interview. Oh, you not want to answer questions? The farmers of Pennsylvania would like to ask you some questions. As a journalist, would you not be interested in answering a few questions? Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I
would ask you to please leave the property. You were asked to leave. You were asked to leave.
Josh, what about the water in Limerick? Is the water clean in Limerick?
There's blood. She stole a phone from my hand. Like she just, I had to fight her to get my phone back.
What? She did that to you?
Yeah. Well, she like snatched the phone from my head. I had to fight her to get my phone back.
She took it from you?
Yeah. Because I was filming at a public event in Hammer Museum, and that's the wound. So there will be blood.
There will be blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't belong resorting to violence, I'll tell you.
They do not. By the way, we're going to finish up today by having a quick look at, and by the way, lots of people, by the way, wrote, and very nicely, by the way, and said that they really loved the pandemic cocktail and that it helped them get through the pandemic. So we're going to finish up today with us on the patio making and drinking the pandemic cocktail. And I drink for two because Phelim doesn't drink. But sure, somebody has to lift that load. We're in Venice, California.
We're in our back garden.
We're in our back garden.
Our back garden.
We're in our back garden?
Yes.
We're in our back garden in Venice, California.
People may think this is a stock back garden.
This is not a stock back garden. This is
one
the back
that
garden.
Podcasters use to show
And anyone, by the way, who sees any mess anywhere, please don't mention that.
There's a pandemic on.
There's a pandemic on. So it's very useful when you're making this cocktail. So I'm going to call this the pandemic cocktail. My spicy.
Can I just say, if you want to see our back garden, go to YouTube if you're listening to this. I know most people listen to it on the podcast, but actually go to the YouTube video and watch it there.
Yes.
Ann Phelim Scoop.
All right, so we're going to make my go-to pandemic spicy tequila cocktail thing. And this is kind of, and yes, and so it's useful to have one of these to produce the lime juice. So I'm going to give you a pint glass. Look at this, by the way. Can I just say, Guinness, lime juice. Do you see that noise now? I hope that noise isn't a problem. Can you make the lime juice there for me, Phelim?
How do I make the lime juice now?
So I want you to cut that lime in
half.
And,
this?
And by the way,
cut it in
I
half
think
like
this, yeah, cut it in half of that. But I think this is like the most useful thing ever. I love this thing for squeezing limes.
What would you call that thing for people who are not
a lime squeezing? A lime squeeze. By the way, it's called it's a citrus squeezer. It's a citrus squeezer. So really easy to say that, by the way.
Did you pick these limes from your own garden? Or?
I did not. These fabulous limes came, by the way, look at these gorgeous limes. Hang on, people can't see these limes. These limes, beautiful limes, came from Costco.
Especially in Costco.
Costco. What I would do with this cocktail is, and I'm going to make this spicy, and how I'm going to make it spicy is I'm going to introduce a jalapeno. And what I do is I buy a whole bunch of jalapenos and I put them into the freezer for this very purpose. And then Phelim is also going to cut.
Is this where I say, and here's one I prepared earlier?
No, it's not, because we're not going to do that. And actually, it's because we have a problem, because I brought the ice out of the kitchen and now I keep on having to empty out the water out of the ice. And I've got it, you know, a lot of people have those fancy, you know, cocktail shakers. So I don't have one, and I didn't have one for the pandemic. So you know what's great is a jam jar, and I love jam jars, and it's really funny. I have a real problem with getting rid of jam jars, so the house is full of jam jars. And this beauty,
I could attest to that.
If you were making this cocktail for a large group of people, you could use one of these, which would be very good.
Can you hear that? Can you hear that noise?
I can hear that noise.
Like we're having.
Oh, and by the way, we need to find the cats, Phelim. So many of these have you squeezed now? Not enough yet. Two. Oh, really? That's two? That's quite a lot of juice, by the way.
Yeah.
This
is where, here's one I prepared earlier.
And can I just say that what's very good about this, by the way, is that citrus is very good for you anyway. So this is a great way of introducing citrus. It's like, it reminds me of a very good friend of mine from Scotland that you know, Phelim, who used to prepare carrots using sugar and said, vegetables need help. And so, you know, you could remember that she did that. Now, in fairness, her carrots were very nice. I think I've got enough lime juice. I've got enough lime juice right there. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to.
So you know, in the cookery programs, I don't see them do it so much in American ones, particularly in British ones. They used to say, "Here's one I prepared earlier," and they get rid of all this prep stuff.
They never do that. They never do that with a drink.
But what do you think happened? The thing that they had, we were preparing. You know, so they're doing all this, and then.
Oh no, but that would get somebody else would cook that. Oh gosh, I can't get the top off that film. That's the one. So what happened there with this bottle was that we lost the bottle top of it. So we put a plastic top bottle on it, just to kind of. Okay, I opened it. The other thing that I think is really useful to have, I really think this is useful to have, and by the way, this is a piece of advice. Oh, Phelim, that's enough now. Okay. That's enough lime for right now. Thanks a million. And by the way, what I want you to do now is I want you to cut really thin slices of that jalapeno, which is frozen jalapeno. Yum, 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 yum. For those of you who like spicy drinks.
Can I just
say that John
excuse for a moment? To go and
go get the cats?
Yes.
And see where they are. So while Phelim's gone, I'm going to just say that I think this is a really useful thing to have, a measure for alcohol. And my father made the point, and my father was extremely abstemious, but he made the point that by having a measure, if you were to offer someone an alcoholic beverage in your home and you had a measure, the person who takes the alcoholic beverage knows exactly what they've had. You know what I mean? It makes sense. So that this is a measure. So I love this. I have two of them. But yeah. So what we're going to do is I'm going to measure out one measure of tequila, and I think this is 1.5 ounces.
This is Top Cat.
Oh, there's Top Cat. I'm trying to think where I'm going to put this now. I think I'm going to put it in here.
It's rather sleepy.
I'm going to put it in there.
But people have been complaining they haven't seen the cats as much.
Are you sure the cat can be seen in the camera now?
Yes, I can. Yes, you can. Look at the camera, Top Cat. Say hello to all the people that have been asking about you.
Look at all the people.
They've been asking about you.
See what I've done there now? I've got the tequila in there and I've got the ice in there.
And he's going to make a run.
Now I'm going to put in this lime juice. Okay. This wonderful lime juice. You need a second cat, by the way, Phelim. Lime juice.
Well, I think.
I also want you to put in, to cut me up, lots and lots of
do we keep the seeds?
Jalapeno. Yeah, keep the seeds. Keep the seeds for me because, no, that's where the heat is. That's where the heat is.
What's that?
I'm going to throw that in. Don't worry about that. Throw that in.
Isn't there something about the seeds making something bitter or something like that?
No. They make it really hot. That's where all the heat is.
Oh, those tomatoes that make the seeds are bitter.
Okay,
isn't that right?
this is going to go in here.
And I'm asking advice for all the people out there who are thinking, should I keep the seeds?
I put it? Oh, I haven't got everything in here.
More
no,
jalapenos?
I want you to stop for a minute now. Actually, you know what? Put them in anyway. I really like it hot. Okay, stop there now.
Well, actually, I should wash my hands after dealing with that cat.
You should.
Okay, I'm going to wash my hands.
He's going to wash his hands, but he cut the jalapeno, and the jalapeno is in the... Are you sure? So the next thing that I would say is, this is a pandemic cocktail. So what do you put in here as a mixer? Anything, I think is the answer. Perrier water is one possibility if you don't have anything else. I'd prefer something more fizzy. And I would like club soda. You know what I like about club soda? It has 0 calories.
I'm back.
Phelim's back.
For hands that do dishes that are as soft as your face. Mild green. Very liquid.
No idea what that's about. Except, oh yeah, so then the other thing I have to say, and I think this is important, I really think this is actually something that I feel really strongly about. Schweppes tonic water. So, I might take my hair out of my mouth. So Schweppes tonic water, right, this is diet tonic water. And by the way, Canada Dry would never have been acceptable in my home. Schweppes is the only one to go with. But Schweppes regular tonic water has 33 grams of sugar per portion. So that's an enormous amount of sugar, which I actually think ruins the drink. I want my mixer to have no sugar in it. So I'm going to go with this one, which is a diet tonic water containing quinine. And given the fact that perhaps there's a connection between malaria treatments and the COVID, I think getting a bit of quinine in here, why not?
If the president recommended it, I'll eat the fish.
It's good enough for me. Oh! Alrighty, that wasn't meant to happen.
No.
Okay, this is going to go in here. A little bit of this, like that. And by the way, clearly you're going to all write and say I didn't do any measuring. And that's probably not a good thing. And I'll do that again another time. But right now, this is, as I said, a pandemic cocktail. So we're just working with what we have. Isn't that great? Yes. And actually, this is another use for a husband. Let me put this back on properly, and you do a bit of shaking there, Phelim.
Do you have a cocktail glass? Are you gonna?
Oh yeah, a cocktail glass. That's a good one, actually. I hadn't thought about that. And the truth is, I don't actually have cocktail glasses
okay,
anyway.
We'll just use the pint glass.
I just really, no, we're not going to drink it out of a pint glass.
No?
I'm going to drink it out of this. Yeah, a little bit of this. But actually, when you go into the kitchen there, Phelim.
That's a pint glass then.
That's not a pint glass. Do you think that's a pint glass?
Yes.
Anyway, isn't this delightful? Now, what you could know, by the way, some of you are looking and thinking, first of all, spicy. You don't have to do spicy. The other people are looking and thinking, oh God bless us, that's incredibly bitter, right? I don't have a problem with that. I actually like it like that. Because I'm bitter anyway, right? Is that what you're trying to say? So what you could do is...
Sugar. Sugar is evil.
Sugar is evil. No, but by the way, you know what you could throw in there? And you totally could. You could put in some honey in there. Totally put in some honey in there. But I actually think... Let me just try this, right? And the truth is that we're about to go across the road here in our neighbourhood and have the... what's it called, Phelim?
A block party.
A block pandemic...
Block happy hour party.
A block pandemic happy hour with our neighbours, who we would never have met, by the way, if it weren't for the pandemic. Can I just say, seriously, that's delightful. That is really delightful. It's really refreshing, my mother's phrase for an alcoholic beverage. Very refreshing, nice and spicy. And I think this, by the way, is brilliant. This, yeah, as I said, I have a real problem throwing away jars. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next week.
Bye.